In this video, we're going to compare two of Portugal's hottest visa options for non-EU folks, the D7 Passive Income Visa and the D8 Digital Nomad Visa. These are your tickets to living in Portugal legally, but they're built for totally different lifestyles. So whether you're a retiree with a pension or a digital worker chasing that laptop in a cafe life, stick around. We're comparing who these visas are for, the requirements, the pros and cons, and more. So let's jump in. First of all, let's break down what these visas actually are. So the D7 Passive Income Visa, sometimes called the Retirement Visa, has been around for years. It's designed for people who don't need to work because they've already got steady income from stuff like pensions, investments, or rental properties. You're basically proving that you can live in Portugal without taking a local job. Work is off the table here, folks. It's all about kicking back and enjoying life. Then there's the D8 Digital Nomad Visa, launched in October 2022. This one is for the remote work crowd, the freelancers, employees of foreign companies, or self-employed folks who can work from anywhere. It lets you live in Portugal while keeping your job as long as most of your income comes from outside the country. So, the D7 is all about passive income and relaxation, while the D8 is about staying productive with a Wi-Fi connection. Two totally different vibes, so let's see who they fit. Let's go into a bit more detail about the ideal candidate for each type of visa. So, the D7 is perfect if you're financially set and ready to slow down. So if you're a retiree with a pension, check. Someone with rental income or dividends rolling in, check. Even younger folks taking a break with savings or passive income can qualify. It's not just for the retirees. Young people can get the D7 as well. You could get it even in your 20s. But the goal here is to live in Portugal without needing to hustle, without needing to work. This visa can also work for spouses and girlfriends as well. The D8, though, is for digital nomads, essentially. If you've got a remote job with a company abroad, if you freelance for international clients or you run an online business, this is your jam. So picture yourself coding from a co-working space in Porto or designing from a balcony in the Algarve. But there's a rule. Your income has to come mostly from outside Portugal. Local gigs are limited. So again, the D7 is your chill retirement plan, and the D8 is your passport to work from anywhere. So which vibe is calling you? Now let's talk about the money part, financial requirements, because Portugal wants to know that you can afford to hang out there, that you can afford to live in Portugal without being a burden on their system. So for the D7, you need to show a minimum passive income of 820 euros per month in 2025. That's Portugal's minimum wage. But here's the real talk. Consulates often expect more, like 1,000 or 1,200 euros per month, to prove that you can actually live comfortably. For a couple, add 50%, so about 400 euros more, or, on the low end, 1,200 euros total. And then each dependent child, you'll want to tack on an additional 30%, which is about, an additional 250 euros per child. So a family of three might need around 1,476, call it 1,500 euros per month. You'll also need savings as well. So typically 12 months worth of savings. So about just under 10K for one person at the minimum. And this has to be passive, no active work allowed. The D8 is a different beast. So for the D8, you need 3,280 euros per month. That is 4 times the minimum wage. And that needs to be earned through remote work. For a spouse, add 50%, and for a kid, add 30%. So for a family of 3, you're looking at €5,904 per month. Plus, you'll need also 10K in savings as a buffer, kind of similar to the D7. Technically 9,840, but let's call it 10K in savings, easier to remember for both programs. And regarding the income, again, so this income has to come from a foreign employer or clients, and it's averaged over the past 3 months. So side by side, the D7 is way lower for singles, €820 versus €3,280, but the D8 is built for earners, okay? And then family costs climb fast on both as well, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about the application process. How do you actually get the visa? So both start at a Portuguese consulate in your home country, but there are quirks. You're gonna have a lot of questions about this process. So MyLatinLife, we're a full-scale immigration firm. We can get you residency in Portugal. We can get you the D7, the D8, the Golden Visa, visas in Spain or Italy as well. Whatever you need. So book a call. There is a link in the description where you can book a call and speak to me, Vance, personally. Okay. We're going to look at your holistic situation. We're going to build the perfect strategy, weigh all your options, and then we're going to hold your hand through the entire process to get the residency visa in your hand as quickly as possible and also increase your probability chance of success here. So coming back to the application process, for the D7, you're going to need your passport, proof of passive income like pension statements or rental contracts. You're going to need private health insurance covering Portugal, a clean criminal record check, and a medical certificate. You're going to get a temporary visa for 4 months, and then once you're in Portugal, you're going to swap it for a 2-year residence permit at the AIMA, which is the immigration agency. And the processing is about 60 days, give or take. The D8 has 2 flavors. So there's a 1-year temporary stay visa. There's also a 4-month residency visa that flips into a 2-year permit. You need the same basics like a passport, insurance, criminal record check, medical certificate, plus proof of remote work like a contract or client invoices and accommodation for a year. And by the way, we can help you get an address and stuff. So the temporary option is simpler but non-renewable, and the residency path is renewable and also faster, so often 30 to 60 days. So the key difference here in terms of application process is the D8 adds that remote work proof layer to it, but it's also quicker if you go the residency route. The D7 is more straightforward, but it's also a little bit slower. Okay. So now let's talk taxes and work limits, right? So with the D7, if you're in Portugal over 183 days a year, you are a tax resident. This means your worldwide income gets taxed at Portugal's progressive rates, from 14.5% up to 48%. And again, no work is allowed. So it's all about managing that passive income tax hit, any capital gains you might have, basically all your worldwide income from the assets you've accumulated in your life. And by the way, you might be wondering about the NHR, the non-habitual resident program. It used to be a sweet deal with a 20% flat tax rate on Portuguese income, 0 on certain foreign income sources as well. But it's getting phased out in 2025 unless you're in a niche field like tech or research. It's still possible. It used to be better. The NHR program used to be better. They changed it. They made it a little bit more strict, a little bit more complicated. But if you're going to end up being a tax resident in Portugal anyway, it's something that we can definitely explore and see if it can be used to lower your taxes. But it's not like it's not zero tax like it used to be. The D8 also makes you a tax resident after 183 days with the same 14.5% up to 48% rates. But you can work remotely as long as less than 20% of your income is from Portugal. The NHR is an option here too, potentially slashing taxes for 10 years if you qualify. Without it, you're juggling double taxation treaties to avoid paying twice. So it can get complicated, but there's definitely solutions as well. And just to sort of summarize this again, so the D7 has a strict no work rule. The D8 gives you the flexibility to earn money as you're in Portugal, but caps your local earnings. It needs to be majority foreign source. And then tax-wise, both hurt without the NHR. So check the NHR is also dependent on your home country and sort of the tax treaty between your home country and Portugal. So we can get into that on a case-by-case situation. We know it pretty well for Canadians, Americans, UK, etc. So now let's talk about the pros and cons. Let's weigh them up. So the D7, the pros are low income threshold, simple requirements, residency and a path to citizenship, and Schengen travel perks. It's ideal for a laid-back lifestyle. The D7 cons are no work is allowed, it has higher taxes without NHR, and consulates can be a little bit picky about income proof. The D8, the pros are you're able to work, you have remote work freedom, you have potentially faster processing, you have NHR potential, or at least more so, and you have a 5-year residency track. It's perfect for nomads. The D8 cons are you have a much higher income threshold. There's going to be extra documentation needed related to your work. And then there's also that 20% local income limit that can trip you up. So the D7 is very easy if you're set financially and have passive income. The D8 is better if you're still working. Now let's talk a little bit about the path to permanent residency and citizenship. And if you were trying to do this, you're probably interested in the long term, and both can get you there towards PR and citizenship in the long term. So the D7 starts with 2 years, renews for 3, hitting 5 years total. The D8 is the same, starting at 2 years, then renews for 3. After 5 years total, you can snag permanent residency and citizenship, 5 or 6 years of citizenship. And with A2 Portuguese skills, you'll need that as well. You'll have to pass a Portuguese language test, but A2 is honestly a very low level. So hopefully after 5 or 6 years in Portugal, you'll at least be able to do A2, which is like level 2 out of 6. So very, very achievable. And then also, just as a reminder, if you want to be on the track to PR and citizenship, don't leave Portugal for more than 6 months a year, or that can potentially reset the clock. So the D8 has a bit of an edge here in the sense that it's newer and faster up front. The D7 is steady and more reliable. It's a program that's been around much longer. Either way, Portugal could be your home for good. So D7 or a D8, which should you choose? Choose D7 if you have the passive income. It's just going to be easier and you don't need to work. Pick the D8 if you're remote and you need to work. So it's all about lifestyle. It's all about, are you working? Are you not working? Are you retiring? Or are you working? Either way, Portugal's got sun, sea, and sardines waiting for you. So that's our D7 versus D8 showdown. Which one's your pick? Drop it in the comments. Bonus points if you've applied. Would love to hear any anecdotes that you guys have. Really helps the community learn from people's past experiences. And if this helped, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for more visa hacks, more information about visas in Portugal, in Europe, and in Latin America. We also have a back catalog of other videos about other visas in Portugal, Europe, and Latin America. Book a call with us if you want to get things going, and we'll see you in the next video.